You ugly fat to do that. You have no friend. You ugly. You're ugly. You have no friend. Do that funny. You have no friend. You do that. You're ugly fat. Do that. Your mom. You're ugly. You're funny. You have it. You kick out the house. You're ugly. Yeah, you're funny. You do that. You know how you do that? You're funny. Do that. You have your friend. You're ugly. Friend that's ugly. You do that. You're ugly. You have no friend. You're ugly. You're funny. You're funny. You're funny. Do that. You're ugly. You're funny. You have no friend. You you ugly. You have no friend. You're ugly. You Bella. You ugly. Do that. You cry. You do that. Cry in the what? You ugly. You too funny. You too crying like a baby. You funny. You ugly. Do that. Ugly. You have no friends. You ugly. You have funny. You gay. You ugly. You ugly. You funny. You Bella. You ugly. You funny. Do that. You have no friend. You too funny. You ugly. Bella. You ugly. You funny. You have no friend. You're ugly. You're funny. You do that. You're funny. You had no friend. You're ugly. You're funny. Ah! You're ugly. You're funny. I had no friend. You fat. You're ugly. You too fat. You have no friend. You do that. And you're ugly. Do that funny. Funny. You do that. You have no friend. You're ugly, Bella. You're ugly. You too funny. You're ugly. You're ugly, fat. You funny. You have no friend. I had no too funny. You had no Discord. You're ugly. You ugly Discord. You have no. You have to laugh on Twitch. I laugh Twitch, and you laugh on Kick. You laugh on YouTube. You laugh on Kick. You not laugh on YouTube Kick. You not laugh on Twitch. You're ugly to funny. Do that. You're ugly. You Bella. You're ugly fat. Yeah, you're funny. Do that. Aren't you funny? Do that. Why do that and you're funny? You do that, Bella the Wolf. Why have you do that? Why have you funny? Why have you do that? Why have you funny? Why have you do that? Why have you funny? Why do you do that? Why they funny? Bella, you're ugly. You do that. You're ugly. You do that. You're ugly. You're funny. You're ugly. You're funny. Do that funny. You're ugly. Fat. You do that. You have no friend. You do. You finally do that funny girl.